This is Sky Sports, part of the Sky Television Network.
Sky Sports Rugby League coverage is sponsored by Lucozade Sport.
Seize the day.
It's the night we salute the big league's League of Nations. Aussies, Kiwis, Fijians, Frenchmen, a South African and a Welshman, together with a smattering of true-blooded Englishmen, do battle here at Don Valley as Sheffield Eagles take on Workington Town. Eagles are on a high at the moment, and if they remember 95 for nothing else, it'll be for that first win at Headingley over Leeds. That made it 2 wins out of 2 in the league, and in their next match against St Helens, they won as well. Last week, they made it 4 wins from 4 at Warrington. The Eagles' turn has coincided with the return to Don Valley of Mark Aston. The scrum half came back to the roost from an unhappy spell at Featherstone, and it's obvious he's enjoying his football again. The club's record point scorer is anxious they keep on winning.
The team are striving to be on top of the game each week, and you know, I'm one of those, not so young, but I'm one of those who's got a point to prove, and at the moment it's working well for me.
Perhaps hooker John Lawless is another with a point to prove. Halifax let him leave for Sheffield to replace international number 9 Lee Jackson. Another international is Paul Broadbent, the Eagles skipper, who made it to England's World Cup squad and has a great chance of being number 1 prop in Super League. Last time they were featured on Sky Sports, Sheffield conceded soft tries to Warrington and lost. But coach Gary Hetherington believes the current run's no flash in the pan.
We've got a good victory at Leeds, and we've beaten Oldham before that, so yeah, we started playing with a bit of confidence. But yes, I mean, all teams have good spells and bad spells, and when we were getting beat, I knew that we weren't as bad as his record suggested, but the players did need some confidence and a bit of direction. Certainly Paul Dixon's helped, as did Mark Aston coming back from Featherstone, and Mark is playing extremely well at present, as are all the players, and it's a good scene that we're in, but of course we're keen to guard against complacency.
Workington need a confidence boost like last time we saw them on a Friday night winning at Warrington. Kevin Pape, like a good wine, gets better with age. The win at Wilderspool was notable for 4 drop goals. Dean Marwood is a man for the one-pointer, and over the years has amassed almost 1,000 points for the cause. Top scorer Vince Fawcett looks like he's benefited from a summer spell in Australia. While wholehearted effort is the key to Roland Phillips, but Workington need more than just effort in Super League. 9 straight defeats in the league tells its own story.
Unfortunately, we've been picking up some bad results. I mean, we control the game for short periods of the game. We don't seem to be able to do it for 80 minutes, but the games like your Oldhams, Sheffields, and other teams probably in the same position as ourselves, we need to put it all together against them.
When Kurt Sorensen moved up the coast from Whitehaven, he knew he faced a huge task, but he remains upbeat.
We're being very positive about Friday's game. It's a game that we know is not going to be easy for us, you know, especially Sheffield have been, you know, have turned things around themselves. So we're going into Friday's game as seen it as very, very important for the short season.
So Eagles 4 wins in 4 take on Town 9 defeats in 9. The Eagles are flying and are on their way up that table. And welcome to Don Valley, where the Eagles take on the Town tonight under the old rules of rugby league. Because as from Monday, there will be 4 new rule changes introduced to this sport to try and speed it up and, if possible, make it even more of a spectacle. Well, the Bradford Bulls coach, Brian Smith, joins us in the studio tonight to assess the changes with Steve and me on the programme tonight. Now, before we go any further and we start talking about the rule changes, let's tell you what the rule changes are. 4 new ones come in, as I say. First of all, there'll be no striking allowed in future at the play the ball by the defending players. That's the first rule. The second rule, the ball must be played backwards at all times at the play the ball. Third rule, scrums will be set 20 metres in from touch instead of 10 metres as at present. And the last one, the scoring team restarts play with a kick-off after any score. So the scoring team kicks off. Now, all those changes come in as from Monday, and we will see them for the first time. You will see them for the first time during our match at Wilderspool next Friday night, Warrington against Castleford. And Greg McCallum, by the way, will be our guest at Wilderspool next week. So we'll hear from the man himself in about 7 days' time. We've got Brian Smith with us tonight, the Bradford Bulls coach. Brian, first of all, your immediate reaction to these new rule changes.
I think they may help to speed the game up, Eddie, but I think the major factor in it is going to make things simpler for the referee, particularly the play-the-ball rules. I like the idea of the scrum rule. I think it opens up both sides of the field to attack. And I think probably the other rule to do with the kick-off hopefully will lead to some closer scorelines and particularly more exciting finishes for the game. I think they're good.
I don't wish to be churlish, and of course we never are on the big league, but people looking outside at this game will say, well, just a minute, there's a competition that has reached the semi-final stage, and we're, what, 5 weeks away from the end of the Centenary Championship season. Why change now? Why not just try it experimentally on a few matches between now and the end of the season and bring it in with a whiz-bang for Super League?
Well, I'll have a bit of each way on this one, Eddie, because I must say I was a little surprised when I found out about this myself this morning. I knew there were going to be some experimental games, or I felt there were. I was told there were, but the fact that we seem to have changed completely overnight was a bit of a shock. The other side of it is that I think most people recognise that the championship itself this year does provide an opportunity to really test things out before we hit that fantastic period that lies in front of us, the Super League.
Let's have a word with Steve-O, because he's got views about everything and rule changes, I'm sure, and there's 4 of them. You must have views about this, old fella.
Well, I have. I think that the Rugby League Council have decided that Wigan are the champions. I know they're 6 points clear, but I think that's the reason why they brought it in, that Wigan are going to be unstoppable till the end of January. So therefore, let's not mess around and let's bring in these new rules. And I think it's a damn good idea, because all the rules are good apart from one, which I think I would have liked to have seen, rather than the team who scored the try, rather than kicking the ball deep into the corner, which they will do, I would rather have the side to restart the game from a tap from halfway. The other factor that perhaps could be a bit of a problem is if, say, someone intercepts from your own line, races 80 metres and just gets tackled short of the line, he has to play the ball backwards. A little bit farcical in my book.
But you can't have it both ways there, Steve-O. There's a point where
you've got to have 2 sides to a story, though. You can't just bring 4 rules in and say, well, that's it. They're in tablets of stone.
No, I think that the sacrifice that you have to make, the point that you're making about that intercept
try... The sacrifice is that we've given the championship to Wigan. That's a sacrifice.
No, the sacrifice on that rule is a small price to pay for eliminating a whole heap of decisions that referees are continually making judgment errors on.
True, I have no problems with that.
And I don't
whatsoever.
like your idea of the tap from the halfway. It's one that I've given a lot of consideration.
But you're a coach. You're a coach. Of course you don't like the idea. You want the ball to, if you've scored, let's punch it right down to the corner.
The reason, I'm also a spectator and a lover of the game, and one of the reasons that I don't like that, and I have thought about it, is that you lose a whole facet of play, and that is the kick-off chase and the kick-off reception, and I think that area provides a lot of excitement for the fans.
What about this new rule about the play the ball, where the ball's got to go backwards? It negates, really, the need for markers at the play the ball, doesn't it? I mean, will you at Bradford, will you now say, right, everyone stands in the line 10 metres away from the play the ball, you defend from there?
Well, even if you wanted to, Eddie, I don't think you can. I think that almost, I think I can prove to you statistically that about 85% of all tackles made involve 2 or more players. And generally, the guy playing the ball gets up so quickly that you don't get a chance to get back to form a 12-man line, if you like.
Will there be coaches that will do that?
Well,
will make a 12 straight line on that 10 metre? I mean, it's hard enough to get through now.
Well, I don't think so, because I think the opportunity then to run from act in half and pick up easy meterage out or yardage out of that area would be too tempting for some.
But if you are playing against a side that loves to get the ball out wide and try to keep the ball down the middle, it's inviting them to keep the ball.
Yeah, I think,
make them go down the centre.
I still think that's negated by the fact that if you play the ball quickly, those two defenders who've made the tackle can't get back the 10 metres.
Well, it'll be interesting, won't it, to hear Steve-O and Greg McCallum having a tete-a-tete in 7 days' time if he's so vociferous with a poor old coach tonight and his views on the game.
Let's get one thing straight. The thing is, I think 95% of the new rules are good. 5% I don't like.
OK. He's entitled to his view, isn't he? And, of course, Brian and the coaches and Greg McCallum will be with us this time next week, entitled to their view. We will see how it all pans out after Monday, and you'll be able to see, as I say, first game under the new rules in front of the TV cameras next Friday at Wilderspool. Well, as I said at the top of tonight's show, we see the big league's League of Nations this evening, and let's meet one of them now with Bill Arthur.
Jean-Marc Garcia is a man of many talents. The 24-year-old French international centre has been a big hit since joining from Saint-Estève, and like fellow countrymen Ginola and Cantona, he starred on the catwalk too, here at an Eagles fundraising fashion show. In fact, Jean-Marc is a bit of a dashing blade because he's also a trained chef de cuisine, having worked in a restaurant near his home in Perpignan. And at the Don Valley Stadium, he demonstrated his skills.
I got to do omelette with mushroom.
OK, guys, here it is. Mushroom omelette. Dig in.
Better be good, mate. Stick to playing rugby. Nice, OK. That's good. You cook after? Yes. We all come round to yours? Yeah. That's good.
Looks like Linton Stott might have been taking a course in French cuisine. We have a very special visitor here to Don Valley tonight, obviously, and I wonder if they are tickets to the next home match that he's handing out. Santa Claus is here, so too is Brian Smith and Steve-O, of course, and yet that is not a bad view of Mr. Stevenson. But that's a view of the Don Valley Stadium. It's Sheffield Eagles against Workington Town, and coming next, we'll run through the way these two sides line up. And there's the Eagle man of Sheffield warming up for the Eagles against Workington Town tonight. Sheffield Eagles, who have won 4 out of the last 4 in the league, against Workington, who have won just twice in the Centenary Championship all season. They are bottom of the pile. It's a chilly night here at Don Valley, but conditions absolutely perfect for rugby league after we were at the Odsal Stadium just last Friday, weren't we, in the fog and everything else to see Brian Smith's Bradford Bulls. Brian Smith is our guest on the programme tonight, by the way. He is with Steve-O and me, and we'll be hearing from him a little bit later on in the programme. Right, let's now take you the way through these two sides line up tonight. Beginning with the full-backs, Mark Gamson, and the first of the other nationalities, South African Mark Johnson. Wings, and here's the Fijian, Joe Dakwitoga, against the Frenchman, David Brace. It's Bright Sodji and Paul Penrice on the other flank. In the centre, Linton Stott is up against Kevin Pape, while Jean-Marc Garcia from France faces up to Vince Fawcett. Standoff, two Brits and two Deans, Lawford and Marwood. Scrum half, Mark Aston's back at Sheffield, and they're enjoying their best run of the season. He faces up to Wayne Kitchen tonight. Up front, England international Paul Broadbent and the Kiwi, Lafele Filippo. Aussie Danny McAllister and Welshman Roland Phillips. Hooker, two youngsters, John Lawless and Michael Bethwaite. Second row, and these two are as English as they come, Andy Hay and Colin Armstrong, as are Ian Hughes and Billy McGinty, despite names that might have come from elsewhere. And it's Australian Paul Carr and New Zealand Jason Palmada completing the lineups for the coaches, Gary Hetherington and Kurt Sorensen. And they have named on the bench for Sheffield Maiko, Price, Cook and Yasser. He's another Fijian. While they are Lee Smith, Mark Wallace, Gary Schubert and Phil McKenzie on the bench for Workington Town. OK, we have been talking up here in the studio about these new rule changes, the 4 new rules that come into the game as from Monday. We've heard the coach's view, we've heard the expert's view from Steve-O. Now let's hear from the players. We go outside and join Bill Arthur, who's on the touchline, and he's joined there by Paul Dixon, now of Sheffield Eagles.
That's right, Eddie. Workington going into this game without Logan Campbell, who was suspended for 1 match at a disciplinary hearing last night. At the same hearing, Paul Dixon got a 1-match ban as well for being sent off last time out. Was it a fair cop, Paul?
Yeah, I have no arguments really. You know, I'll accept the 1 match and get it over tonight.
Well, now the talking point is these rule changes. What do you make of them?
Well, the governing body keeps striving forward, trying to make the game quicker, and I think they keep being successful. I think they'll be successful with this one as well.
Of the main ones, the moving the scrum 10 metres in, the play the ball and the change in the kickoff, what do you think is the hardest one for the players to adapt to?
Probably the change in the kickoffs, because you've been doing it since you were 5-year-old and getting used to it, and then all of a sudden they just change it.
So you think that might pace things up a bit?
Yeah, I think it might slow the game down a little bit, because you've got to get people back in position a lot quicker.
Now then, tonight's game, Sheffield Eagles on a roll, Workington struggling. I mean, on paper, it should be a comfortable Eagles win.
Yeah, but I feel this is our hardest game in the last few weeks, because, you know, everybody's expecting Sheffield to win, and Workington will come here and do a workmanlike job.
But the mood must be great in the Eagles camp at the moment.
Yeah, there's plenty of confidence, the lads are enjoying it, and it's nice to be on a roll.
And you enjoying a new lease of life here?
Yeah, I enjoy the challenge. You know, I'm not getting any younger, but you've got to keep playing and enjoying the game.
Paul, thanks very much indeed.
Cheers, Matt.
Well, let's take a look at meetings between these two sides since 1984. 11 have been played. Sheffield have won 9, Workington 2, and Sheffield unbeaten here at the Don Valley against Workington Town. And defence attack this season, I'm afraid that Workington have the worst attack and the worst defence in the big league this season, but Sheffield with 49 tries, well, they are one of the entertainers of the game just now. They've played 13 of Sheffield, Workington 1 more, 5 wins for Sheffield, just 2 wins for Workington. It's been a long, hard struggle for Kurt Sorensen up there at Derwent Park. And the championship table looks like this. That's the top 6. Wigan are, of course, 6 points clear of the rest. Bradford tucked in there in 6th place. And down at the bottom, you can see what a struggle it's been for Workington this season. There they are at the foot of the table, and Sheffield 2 places, but 6 points ahead of them. Well, Sheffield had a dreadful start to the season, Steve-O, didn't they? They, I think, won 1 out of the first 9, something like that. But surely the return of Mark Aston has had something to do with the recent improvement.
Oh, without doubt. They lacked direction early in the season. They really didn't know what was going on. They needed a leader on the park. And this gives you some indication, just short clips. This is a kicking game. Look at that. It's going backwards. Not even an attempt to take it. And I'm afraid that was a going rate all the way through the 4 or 5 games early in the season. Look at that. In and out, confusion. even when they had an international class of Jackson, the support play then, not the best pass. Look at this. Just awful. They just lost direction. Second tackle, this particular incident, losing possession. Workington, well, they can score tries, and they did do very well, especially the first few weeks that Kurt Sorensen took over there. Kicking game from Kitchen and Marwood, Frey scoring the try. They have the ability. This is Kitchen. He can put the man through the gap. Armstrong, the second rower. They have the ability to score them, but over the last 2 months, I'm afraid, it has all gone wrong. Their defence is bad. Notice how they'll take the dummy runner. And watch how that second man comes out there. Lee Penny in for quite an easy try. It has been a big problem. A change of fortune on both ways. Aston really has injected a lot more to this Sheffield Eagles side. And Kurt Sorensen realises that there's a lot to do there. And he knows that perhaps in his half-back position, he has a problem. Kitchen and Marwood are very good creators, but they don't have the speed to apply the pressure to the opposition.
Well, at the moment, Sheffield, as we say, they're on a run of 4 wins in succession in the league. Workington, they've got 9 successive defeats behind them. Brian Smith is a man who's come into a situation at Bradford, and you, of course, have tried to change things round and are changing things round at Odsal. Does your heart go out to Kurt Sorensen on a night like this?
Yeah, I guess Kurt's got a problem because he's up there, and it's awkward, I think, to get players to go up to Workington, and I think also that he probably doesn't have the blue chip that I had to be able to make some bargain, or have some bargaining power. I think they've done pretty well though, Workington. The last time I was on Sky, they did a very good job and beat Warrington. They were a very enthusiastic, tight-knit group that night. They'll need to be again tonight because Sheffield are playing really well. Paul Dixon's made a difference to them as well after leaving us at Bradford.
A good sell, was he then?
I think for both parties. We were happy because it gave us a bit of breathing space because we did have a lot of guys in our club well over 30. We needed to move some on, but it's been good for Sheffield as well. It's important when you get a good trade for both ends.
I think it would be remiss of me if, before we go to the next break, I don't just mention Paul Newlove and the fact that he is now out of the camp and at St Helens. You've got your 3 new men in. You've took the money away in the bank, of course. The bank manager must be quite happy. Things going OK at Odsal, according to plan for you now?
Yeah, well, I'm impatient, and there's maybe a couple more players that we'd like to add in over the next couple of weeks, but we've made quite a few changes already, and Paul's moved to Sheffield again, to St Helens, I should say. Hopefully will be good for them, and we're certainly hoping that the other will be good for us. We believe we've done a good trade, and as I said, it's great when you do a trade that's good for both parties, it's good for the game.
I rather fancy that Bradford Bulls and the Brian Smith will compete in Super League starting in March, and the Challenge Cup, of course. Mention that, and every Australian gets a little glint in their eye. Right, let's take a break, and when we return, we'll have the match for you. Sheffield Eagles taking on Workington tonight here at the Don Valley. Join Steve-O and me in the commentary box right after these. Sheffield Eagles against Don Valley. We're live and exclusive at the stadium tonight. The Eagles against Workington Town. Now, no club has used more players this season than Sheffield as they search for the winning formula for Super League. This is Workington emerging, who have won just twice in the league all season, and they stand, as we told you, bottom of the league. Billy McGinty, the 1992 Lions tourist, 4 Test caps for Great Britain. Who will ever forget the great night he had in Melbourne in '92 on that tour? And David Freys, the Frenchman, 21 international caps for France, who left Bradford Bulls in the summer. And Paul Broadbent, Mark Aston and company emerge. The Sheffield Eagles come onto this field. Gary Hetherington has used 38 players so far. He appears, though, now to have his strongest ever squad here at Don Valley. They are coming together nicely for next March. And perhaps Mark Aston, the man who has returned from Featherstone Rovers, will prove to be the catalyst for Sheffield Eagles' launch on Super League in 1996. It's good to see him back here, and I know that he is delighted to have returned to the nest. The Sheffield side has Ganson at fullback, Dakwitoga, Stott, Garcia and Soji, Lawford and Aston, and the forwards, Broadbent the captain, Lawless, McAllister, Hay, Hughes and Carr. And on the bench, Maiko, Price, Cook and Yasser, and the coach is Gary Hetherington, also the chairman here at Sheffield Eagles. Dean Marwood playing tonight in the number 6 jersey, the standoff half, and he needs 6 points for 1,000 for Workington Town. He's been a great servant to them up there in Cumbria. Here's the team that he takes his place in. Johnson, the South African at fullback, Penrice, Pape, Fawcett and Frace, Marwood and Kitchen. The forwards, Filippo, Bethwaite, Phillips, Armstrong, McGinty the captain and Palmada. And on the bench, Smith, Wallace, Schubert and Mackenzie, the coach, the Kiwi Kurt Sorensen. Sorensen, the old warhorse from Widnes, and David Campbell is the referee. That's not David Campbell, that's the Eagle man from Sheffield. He is here in all his glory tonight. He's quite a character, I can tell you. Local disc jockey, and he also runs a big clothing outfitters in the centre of Sheffield. David Campbell is tonight's match referee, one of the top officials in the game. And so we're just about ready for the start on this magnificent service that is the Don Valley Stadium for Sheffield Eagles against Workington Town in the Stones Bidder Centenary Championship. A championship season that runs to the end of January. And immediately we have the first scrum of the evening. Mark Aston's kick-off finding touch.
Not the best start by Workington there. A little bit of a mix-up. Someone forgot to call for it. It really was poor play by Workington. This is not a happy hunting ground against the Sheffield Eagles. They've yet to win here, Workington, and they will find it very tough because Sheffield tackling like that will continue all night, according to their coach, Gary Hetherington.
That's the prop forward Filippo going down in the tackle. The dummy half is Bethwaite, but Sheffield are caught offside at the play of the ball. Referee had a stack of them to choose from, either side.
Linton Stott very quick to get off the mark, well spotted by David Campbell. Frenchman Jean-Marc Garcia. They're eager.
Bethwaite waiting for the ball, as is the referee David Campbell. He calls time back on, and this now is Vince Fawcett. Fawcett, the former Leeds man, had a summer in Parramatta in Australia, and the second row forward is Colin Armstrong, great servant also for the Workington club. Good movement. Filippo, the prop forward, driving it in towards the danger zone for Workington Town. Roland Phillips gets the pass away. That's Billy McGinty. He disappears under the challenge of Broadbent and Lawford. Here's Fawcett using a bit of strength to swat one tackler away, and neatly out the back door he finds David Frace. Frace taking them on, dabbing it through. It might come up for David Frace, and that's going to be, I was going to say that's going to be 6 to go, but the referee says it was a knock-on by the Workington Town Frenchman.
Good play by the Frenchman too. He could see there was no sweeper there. Soji was very slow to come back into that line. Well, I don't know where he's got the knock-on from there.
It just touched his hand and then touched the leg. David Frace, as he tried to regather the ball. Referee was in good position to see it. 2.5 minutes gone. This is Paul Carr for Sheffield.
Gee, you got good eyes, Eddie.
So has David Campbell.
So has David Campbell. He's a lot more nearer than us. Well spotted.
Mark Aston's in a dummy half, and that was a knock-on from him.
I saw that one. Not happy with it, Mark Aston. Rightly so, eager to get on with it. Well, nerves showing in the opening minutes, not surprisingly. They know that Workington will come at them very strong. I spoke to their coach, Kurt Sorensen, before the game, and he said that the introduction of the two New Zealanders, Filippo and Palmada, will make a lot of difference to his side.
There is Palmada. He gets it away to Bethwaite. Quick hands, and that will look a little forward in mind as Penrice picked up the pass from Filippo. But the referee says play on, and here is Filippo again driving for the line, and it's desperate Sheffield defence to keep him out. Bethwaite again, the dummy half. There's Marwood, here's Kitchen. McGinty directing operations behind Kitchen. He finds Johnson, the fullback, who's chimed into the line. They do try and keep this ball alive, Workington, but Armstrong then just couldn't wheel the pass in.
The chance was on. The neat pass, a little bit low in the end, but the big second rower just couldn't bend down for it. They had the overlap there. Colin Armstrong, major servant to this Workington town side.
Steve-O, we saw Workington the last time on a Friday night really shock Warrington to their boots. And this is Dakwitoga, the Fijian of Sheffield in possession. And the opening 4 or 5 minutes here, it looks like they're in the mood to upset Sheffield Eagles out of their rhythm too.
Well, as we mentioned before the game started, 9 successive losses does nothing for their confidence, but they do have a tendency to come up trumps when they're on television. And he lost that ball. Was it helped by McGinty?
No, the referee's given the knock on. It wasn't helped. He tried to get the ball away, didn't he, in the tackle?
Well, I'm not so sure. I think the hooker, Bethwaite, helped it along. Wasn't seen by the referee, Campbell. See the hand there from the hooker, spinning round.
It's Workington who have possession. This is Mark Johnson. And it had to be a good tackle from Dean Lawford, and was. Now Fawcett again. Big, strong centre is Vince Fawcett. Sheffield, I'm afraid, over the years have had a tendency to freeze now and again in front of our cameras. Talking about freezing, it is a bitterly cold night here. That was Palmada taking that particular tackle. It's been all Workington in the opening 5 minutes of this match. Here's Roland Phillips, unloads the pass for Johnson. Johnson couldn't take possession, so Paul Carr on the floor did.
Trying to keep the ball alive there. The prop forward Roland Phillips, and Carr was in a good position. It just dropped straight into him. Just like a little Christmas box.
5.5 minutes gone. It's been that sort of match already, with plenty of handling errors on both sides as Broadbent tries to take it up again for Sheffield. We've had 5. That's 1 a minute, just about.
Well, that's a silly penalty, but there's a Workington town player way back in the distance downfield. Silly play there. The referee had already called held. And the loose forward really shouldn't have involved himself there.
Mark Johnson is the injured player. He's just jogging his way back to the defensive line for Workington, and they will need him because Broadbent running this ball at them on the first tackle takes Sheffield to within 12 metres of the Workington line. Good switch of direction. This is Andy Hay. Big, strong second rower, Hay, and he gets the try. Andy Hay, the former Castleford man, who has really hit form as Eagles have put this winning run together. That's his 5th try of the season, and it was an easy one too.
Nice switch to the blind side, but I'm not so sure that it was straight. Just a touch forward, perhaps. He reached over. There was no indication of a double movement. Nice switch to the blind. Good run from the second rower, but I'd like to see that from a different angle. He stretches out, no double movement, fair try on that angle. Ooh, that must have been very close to a forward. Either way, David Campbell was happy with it. And the first real chance that Sheffield get to it, well, just looks slightly forward in mine.
Andy Hay with the try, the first real attack that Sheffield Eagles have had. They've come up with the 4-pointer. And now Mark Aston. 25 goals this season. He needs 2 more for 700 in his career. Is this going to be the first of them? No. Not the best kick from Aston. Ball swings away the wrong side of the post, but the Eagles have a 4-point lead.
Well, you go, there was on the blind side, and you see the defence going backwards. And he took it well there. They were really caught napping. That's been one of their biggest problems, I'm afraid, this season. Workington taking a bit of a rest on the blind side, but well caught there by Sheffield. It was a good switch of play.
So all Workington pressure early on, but Sheffield Eagles come up with the first score of the night. 8 minutes gone, 4-0. They lead. Sheffield Eagles in all red tonight, with the odd dash of yellow and white as well. They're in possession now with Ian Hughes. Good tackling from Bethwaite with a little bit of help from Kevin Pape. Crunching tackle from Filippo from the North Harbour Club in New Zealand. Eagles stopped on the halfway line. Penrice there, Bethwaite too. The young hooker for Workington getting through some work early on here. And the clip over the top. And Mark Johnson taking no chances whatsoever. Mark Johnson, 5 tries in his last 6 games. 43 tries and top scorer in the game 2 seasons ago when he was with London.
Normally a wing of the fullback in South African Mark Johnson, and I'm sure that with Sheffield, with the capable kicking ability of Mark Aston, they'll put him under a lot of pressure tonight.
Good tackling from Paul Carr on Bethwaite. 4 tackles gone. This is Roland Phillips, stands in the tackle, and here now is Palmada. Good cover defence from Sheffield Eagles. They keep Workington inside their own half of the field and restrict them to 34 metres on that set. The kick downfield is watched by Sodji from Wayne Kitchen, and it finds touch.
Nice kick, but there was no interest from Sodji. Quite happy to take the feed and the head at the scrum.
It wasn't Sodji, Steve-o, my mistake. It was Dakwitoga. There he is, Joe Dakwitoga, the Fijian international. He appeared in all the World Cup matches in the try against South Africa at Keighley. Here he is again.
The amazing thing about this fella is that he actually played in the pack in one of the games for Fiji in that World Cup tournament. Played 2 on the wing and found himself in the pack.
Aston, good ball that was. It releases McAllister, the young Australian prop forward from the South Queensland Crushers, and he made good meters then. Eagles within 20 of the Workington line. Lawford, oh, that's a bad ball. It bounced off the chest of Ian Hughes. The referee will bring it back for the knock-on.
Well, Lawford thought that Hughes was going through as a dummy runner, and then thought at the last moment, perhaps, that he was going to take it. But it was really meant for Andy Hay on the out wide. But wonderful play by Sheffield. They're working this blind side very well. The short work by the prop forward, Danny McAllister, and Workington coach Kurt Sorensen will have to work on that. They're taking a bit of a rest on the blind side, Workington.
There's Kurt Sorensen, the Workington town coach, watching from the dugout here. Most modern-day coaches like to get a bit of elevation on their view. But Kurt Sorensen watching from this side, and watching as Filippo goes on a run. Kiwi prop forward, plays the ball to Bethwaite. He gives it to Colin Armstrong. Armstrong takes the tackle from Linton Stott. 47 metres in that set. This is Kitchen, he will drill it towards the touchline, and Dakwitoga just lets it go past him again.
Kitchen taking the early kicking. Of course, Dean Marwood, also a great kicker on the Workington side. Kurt Sorensen, the town coach, have been working hard and trying to switch the 2 halfbacks. Kitchen normally plays in the standoff position, but Sorensen has been eager to try to get some attacking movement going. They haven't had many in the past few games.
Here's Paul Carr, 100th appearance against Warrington last week. Loose forward, gets it away to Sodji. Good tackling by Penrice. Sodji disentangles himself. Here's Broadbent, offloads the pass. Linton Stott on one knee. Good little run from Johnny Lawless. Over the halfway line.
Tremendous play by the hooker there. You could see that Workington was slow, and the second marker saw half the gap, and away he went.
That's the last tackle for Sheffield Eagles. They made 55 metres. This is Aston, who will hoist the kick. And there's a tester for Johnson, and that's going to be 6 to go because it came back off a Workington player. Sheffield keeping the ball alive, but they've got the knock-on gone against them. And that was David Frace and Jean-Marc Garcia saying good evening to each other, the 2 Frenchmen.
Well, it was play on there. Okay. Hill's still up on the 6, and he's deemed that it just went forward. The Frenchman Garcia thought he was in for the try. But there we saw the high kick, and I'm afraid the Workington defence was pretty slow to go up for it. Just a little knock on. He's a little bit forward too. Chance gone begging there by the Eagles.
Welshman Roland Phillips plays it to Bethwaite, and there's Kitchen again to punch the ball deep into Sheffield Eagles territory, and he just finds touch about 4 or 5 metres from the corner flag, turning Sheffield Eagles around.
In and out. Nice kick. Well, they're applying the kick deep, but I'm afraid they're not applying the pressure as they need be, because Sheffield are finding it very easy to get over the advantage line when they do gain possession. 2 or 3 tackles and they're normally back in the town half.
Paul Carr diving out of the back of the scrum to retrieve that ball. There was a great big push then by the Workington Town set of 6. Workington defending this run again from Dakwitoga. They have won just twice in the league all season. One of the wins was against Sheffield back in August, the other against Warrington at Wilderspool on Sky Sports. You may remember when Warrington opened the doors free to all those youngsters, and Workington arrived and they well and truly spoiled the party. This is McAllister, 20 years old, the Australian prop forward. Second strong run from him in the opening quarter of an hour. Kick downfield, no pressure at all then on Mark Johnson.
He had all the time in the world to take that, but that was good defence by Workington. That was the first time that they'd forced Sheffield to actually kick the ball deep within their own territory.
Penalty against Sheffield.
Interference at the play of the ball. The loose forward, Carr. Well picked up by David Campbell, and I'm sure the Sheffield coach Gary Hetherington won't be happy with that. Kick and chase was good, giving it all away.
Richard Price is waiting to come into the action. Oh, he's on, is he? Richard Price is on. Let's just check it out with Bill.
Yeah, Linton Stott has in fact gone straight to the dressing rooms. He's got a nasty cut on his mouth. I think he's going to have some stitches. So Richard Price has come on and gone in the centres, I think.
That's blood bin then. Linton Stott going off for treatment to a gash. This is Roland Phillips now for Workington. And Price will be playing in the centres. That's where he normally plays anyway, and Linton Stott is playing number 3 today. That's Billy McGinty with the run. And Workington now 10 metres short of the line, looking to reply here with Marwood, who gets it away to the prop forward Filippo. Good tackling from Paul Carr. That's how close Workington are. Little kick from Marwood over the top. The ball bouncing around all over the place. Who has it? Who wants it? Sheffield do.
Well played by the referee, David Campbell there. They had every opportunity Workington to take that football. And right at the end there, it was Armstrong that made a real meal of it. Moving off the mark, the second marker must stand square behind the first one. There's the catch that it goes through. Now they had 2 opportunities there. Kevin Pake the first time. Armstrong then made a meal of it. And there you see when they did play the ball, that the Workington markers just out of your shot there. There you are, they're the second row, Colin Armstrong. For those new to our game, you must stand directly square behind the man who's marking. You're allowed 2, but must stand square.
And under the new rule, Steve-O, that comes in on Monday, Brian Smith is sure that he will be having 2 markers at the play of the ball. What would you do?
I'll wait and see whether Brian Smith uses 2 markers all the time. He's a canny Australian, you know.
This is Andy Hay. He plays the ball, and Paul Carr runs from dummy half. Tries to get away from McGinty. Not the best pass in the world. Sodji will pick the pieces up. Right, Sodji, the former Hull Kingston Rovers winger, came into the game from Blackheath Rugby Union. Lawless was the dummy half, and here now is the prop forward Paul Broadbent again. Last tackle. Better defence from Workington. There's 34 metres. High kick. Oh, and a difficult kick for Johnson. He's lucky that he gets away with that. But the ball did go backwards. But a good chase coming in the end.
Well, they're the tactics. You can see that he's not a regular fullback. His body was all twisted when, in effect, you've got to face onto the football, raise up to it. So they're the tactics from Sheffield. Doesn't surprise anyone, especially their coach, Gary Hetherington.
Well, Sheffield penalised for the tackle coming in on Colin Armstrong, but in fairness to the Eagles, the elbow was never on the floor here.
Well, obviously the referee Campbell had shouted held, so therefore the second rower, Andy Hay, should not have continued on with the tackle. It's a fine line sometimes. On this occasion, Workington get the benefit of the doubt.
Well, that's a blow for Sheffield Eagles. Aston has gone off, and we think it's a hamstring problem for Mark Aston. David Maiko comes on, and that's a big blow to Sheffield Eagles. Obviously, the Sheffield scrum half has got his problems. He's off the field. When Sheffield in such a great vein of form with him directing the operations. That ball was released by Phillips, but it went forward.
Quick glance by David Campbell to his touch judge. Touch judge very quick to inform him that the ball had gone forward. Not the best pass, was it, from the big prop forward, Roland Phillips?
Well, we rather fancy that Mark Aston maybe pulled the hamstring when he kicked that bomb that Mark Johnson had so much problems in wheeling in. Here it is. Oh, and there you see, he set off on a little run and immediately pulled up.
The first step was enough, stretching the muscles. As soon as he made contact with the ground, and as you mentioned, Eddie, it really is a bitter blow to the Sheffield side. He really has inspired them after a very slow start to the season.
Kevin Pape here penalised, Steve-O.
Well, it was milked, wasn't it?
So Kevin Pape was on the floor and trying to get out the way. Midway through the first half, Richard Price plays the ball. That's Lawford, good short pass, great run from Broadbent. 8 metres short of the line. Carr.
Well, there's been a lot of responsibility now on the shoulders of youngster Dean Lawford, but he's certainly equal to the task so far. He's controlling things out there.
Ian Hughes with the run. Tries to get the pass away, but well picked up it was in the end by Palmada.
Well, they're just trying to force the pass when really they should have just gone down, play the ball quickly. But good positioning by the loose forward, Palmada. Another chance gone. And I'm sure that the Eagles are going to rue this, especially now that they've lost, I'm sure, for the rest of the game. Their tactician, the man who inspires them so much, Mark Aston. Very rare they come back after a badly pulled hamstring.
9 handling errors in the match already. 5 to Sheffield. Phillips trying to stand in the tackle, takes the tackle in the end from Maiko and company. Now Marwood with a lovely little kick through. And that was Kevin Pape after it. And good defence in the end from Sodji. Marwood claiming that he lost the ball. And the referee, David Campbell, agrees.
Well played. Pape did well there. It was a neat little kick over the top. And Sheffield got caught without a sweeper. Gamson came through a little bit late, and in the end, it was Sodji that let go of it. But great work by Pape. Nice little chip over from Marwood.
From the scrum, Palmada gets the possession for Workington. Dangerous moments here for Sheffield Eagles. Phillips on the burst, trying to get over the line, and Phillips is over. That's a try. Roland Phillips with the try, and that levels things up. And well, you can hear the silence here at Don Valley. Not too many have travelled down the M6 to be with Workington tonight, but I bet they're dancing up in Cumbria just now.
Well, it was a good chip over that put them in this position. Nice switch there from Bethwaite, and the upper body strength there of the Welshman Phillips. And look at the wonderful position that David Campbell put himself in. It was a mistake from Sodji there, but he was put under a lot of pressure by the centre, Kevin Pape. Super stuff. Oh, get the shoulder. 4 men couldn't stop him. Quite clearly he got the ball down fairly. They worked the blind side. It was the Eagles that was working the blind side to full effect in the opening 5-6 minutes. But it's Workington that has done the same. Tremendous play there.
Well, he's ever present in the side so far this season. Roland Phillips, the Welsh international, former Warrington man, and he's been in great form just lately. Good try, and Marwood here can give Workington Town the lead. Kickers are not on form with the boot. It's 4-all.
Good work from the hooker Baithwaite. You can see that the two Sheffield Eagle defenders are going back with their backs to the opposition. Quick play the ball and the run on the blind side. They weren't set up. They peeled out against one line, and the strength of the man. That is a great try.
First in the big league for Roland Phillips. His last for Workington Town was in the Regal Trophy against the Frenchman of Saint-Estève. 4-all. Well, we suspected that Workington Town might make it a struggle. Linton Stott has returned for Sheffield Eagles, and make it a struggle for the Eagles. Workington Town are, Steve-O. They're really getting stuck in here. And Bill is downstairs now with the injured Mark Aston. Let's hear from him.
Ice pack on your right thigh. Did that hamstring go when you launched that high ball?
Yeah, well, when I kicked the high ball, but it's not the hamstring, it's the quadricep. It just, you know, just like pulled, and there's no point in doing any more damage, so I had to, you know, be withdrawn.
Now, Workington have been threatening that try for a while, haven't they?
Yeah, we're playing dumb. We're playing very dumb. We're supposed to be the farm team. Yet, you know, credit to Workington, they've come here and they're trying hard and putting us under pressure. We're just playing so dumb at the moment. Hopefully that try will give us a kick up the butt, and we'll put it back into how it should be.
Thanks very much indeed, Mark.
So Mark Aston telling it's not a pulled hamstring, it's a pulled quadricep, and that's at the front of the leg. And you can thank Brian Smith, Dr. Smith, for that.
Either way, it's painful, and I think we've seen the last of him.
Steve-O, there's a new vocabulary creeping into the big league. This word dumb. Everyone's playing dumb football when they can see tries these days.
It's not new. It's been around a while, I can tell you. And there's been plenty of players playing it dumb. I think Sheffield just got the impression that confidence can be one good thing, but overconfidence is another. They thought all they had to do was just keep this ball alive, but they are not respecting possession. And that is vital. See, there again, they didn't use everything. They hand over, playing out the 6. Now, if Mark Aston had been on the paddock there, they would have ensured that they had the kick there. They've got Mark Johnson, not a regular full-back, and there they get within 2 or 3 metres of the Workington line and don't even get a kick in.
So that's dumb, is it?
Spell it.
Coming up to 26 minutes on the clock, and it's level pegging here at Don Valley, 4-all. There's the try scorer for Workington Town. Welsh international Roland Phillips. He plays it to Vince Fawcett, back to Kitchen. Kitchen employs the kicking game again, but that ball should not have been allowed to go out of play by Dakwitoga, but he didn't fancy it, did he?
Now then, did the Fijian just get a... just missed it completely. He knows he hasn't done the right thing, but I think they get away with it.
Just missed, didn't he? Almost got a stud on it.
Well, Manchester United certainly won't be looking on that one. No talent scout needed there.
This is the fullback Mark Gamson in his testimonial year, 11 years at Sheffield Eagles. And that's Jean-Marc Garcia who loses the ball, and what a big hit it was. Oh, and he felt that, didn't he? It was hard but fair.
Great tackle. The big fella, Raffaele Filippo, is putting his body on the line. And then the Frenchman, sort of a cross-armed crunch, I think.
Workington have the ball back. This is the fullback Mark Johnson. 5 tries in his last 6, by the way, for the last line of Workington's defence tonight. Phillips, his shoulder to the wheel, can't get away from Maiko or Paul Carr, though.
Well, it's amazing how a game can change. The first 15 minutes, Sheffield were in total control. They've just lost their way somewhat. Overconfident, made too many errors. Have allowed Workington to get back into it. Now they are building in confidence.
This is Marwood, and now Fawcett. Andy Hay and Paul Carr. Carr working hard in the defence tonight. Marwood drills the ball just to the right side of the corner flag.
he was quite happy to do that as well. He just wants to get the scrum down 10 metres in from the try line, urging the players on, say, come on, this is where we've got to keep them in their own quarter. Defence is vital now.
And that was almost one against the head. Ball went in untidily, and, well, the referee, David Campbell, wants the scrum to reform here.
Well,
the ball came out,
the prop forward Filippo left the scrum before the ball was out. Well, you don't see that often. That's a push against the head.
They've tried that about 3 times tonight, Workington Town. And he wants the scrum to reform again because Workington again have got the possession.
Well, if it doesn't come out right this time, David Campbell will penalise somebody.
It's there, it's come out on the Workington side, and that was a good try, was it, or was it a double movement? The referee has given the try to Wayne Kitchen. Well, it was 3 times the ball went in that scrum, came out, and Workington claimed possession. The 3rd time referee said it was legal, and Wayne Kitchen did the rest.
Well, what an amazing turn of events. The ball came out that way. Nothing that Lawford could do about it. Now then, it depends on whether Lawford had hold of him. You'll see better from this angle, but the hooker definitely kicked it back, and Wayne Kitchen, he went for the line. Now then, I think he left him. That's a fair try. Dean Lawford lost control. He went for him, but did not pull him down. You've got to keep hold of him. That is well spotted by the touch judge and the referee, David Campbell. But tremendous work from the Workington pack. Those 2 efforts to push them off allowed Dean Lawford to feed the scrum, and it bounced off the hooker. John Lawless kicked it back. That there is no doubt. Great play from Workington.
Well, here's Marwood with the conversion attempt, and it just doesn't have the correct direction yet. But Workington ahead by 8 points to 4, courtesy of Wayne Kitchen, who scored 2 drop goals when we last saw Workington on a Friday night at Warrington.
Well, look at all that space, and maybe Joe de Quitoga really should have been on the blind side. It was a clear run, wasn't it? Dakwatoga was caught out there.
So Sheffield restart, and they are trailing now by 8 points to 4. And of course, next week at this time, when a try is scored, it will be the scoring try who makes the kick-off. The scoring side that makes the kick-off. I don't know whether I can cope with it all. I don't know whether Gary Hetherington can cope with all this either, because he saw his side been systematically dismantled here by Workington Town. And it's Workington who looked by far the most impressive. They didn't impress much when we saw them at London Broncos. They were well beaten, but on a Friday night, seems to do something to this Workington Town team. And Kitchen at the moment is kicking the life out of Sheffield.
Same area all the time. They feel that the experience of the Fijian, Dakwatoga, I wish he wouldn't kick into that corner. My tongue really has a few problems with the guy's name, but the inexperience showing there. And full credit to the Workington Town coach, Kurt Sorensen. Those are the tactics.
And that's the correct spelling of Mr. Dakwatoga's name. And here he is again from dummy half. Tackling, though, by Billy McGinty. Lawless trying to make some ground. It's Workington's half so far. And that is mirrored not only on the possession statistic, but on the scoreline too. And they really are building in confidence, the team at the foot of the table. This is exactly what Gary Hetherington didn't want. You may have seen him at the start of tonight's programme saying that they are the form side, that they want to keep this run of theirs going, and they want to guard against complacency. And that's out on the full from David Maiko. Well, the mistakes are coming thick and fast here.
Bad mistake as well, but it was put under a lot of pressure there by the hooker Bethwaite. Good play there. And I think Sheffield coach Gary Hetherington will be thinking about perhaps bringing on Richard Price. They need someone out there to start dictating the terms, to start from scratch. And he's the man to do it, Richard Price. He has played in the number 6 position, but he needs someone with experience out there.
Well, Gary Hetherington at the moment is pacing up and down the running track here at Sheffield Eagles. Let's hear from one of the Workington Town stars, though, who's on the bench tonight, Phil McKenzie, with Bill.
Phil, Mark Ashton just saying he thinks Sheffield are playing dumb. It looks as though Workington are playing very smart so far.
Well, that's right. We started off the first 10 minutes. We didn't complete our first four sets of 6, and they come up with the try, and then we settled things down and completed our next 5 or 6, and we come up with 2 tries. So, you know, we're capitalising on their mistakes like they did early with us, and hopefully we'll be able to carry it through.
That last try especially so. A really piece of quick thinking.
Well, that's right. The scrum went down 3 times, and you probably won't see that again in rugby league. Luckily we got the good push on, we got the luck of the bounce, and Wayne Kitchen did the rest.
You seem to respond to these Friday night games anyway.
Well, I think we need to be on television a bit more. We haven't been going too well at the moment, and it brings out the best in us.
Thanks, Phil.
Thanks a lot.
It's bringing out the best in them tonight, all right, but they have to defend now, because here is the prop forward McAllister again. He had 2 runs early on. We've seen little of him since. Now here is Lawford again. Just slips, tries to escape the clutches, gets the pass away to Maiko. Maiko is tackled by Buck Armstrong. 4 tackles gone, they're 10 metres short of the line. Lawless on the blind side goes Ian Hughes. Desperate defence from Workington. 2 metres short now. Carr for the line. He wasn't over. Well, he might have been over, but he was held up certainly. No, the referee says that's the turnover. He didn't get it down.
Good play there by the prop forward Filippo. Put his body right underneath him. Made sure that he couldn't get it there. Talk about putting your body on the line. Quite clearly in the field of play. On the last handover.
Yes, he wasn't over the line and held up. He was held up just short, so that's why the turnover came about. Good display this from Workington so far. Gritty, determined effort, Steve-O.
Well, we mentioned 15 minutes into the game, they looked as though they didn't really want to get into it. Their defence was bad, especially on the blind side. I'm sure the rocket went out from their coach Sorensen and said, come on, get back into it. They've certainly done that. The forwards are working hard. They're sharing the work.
Kitchen again and down into this corner for Dakwitoga. He catches it this time and heads off on a run. That's better. You know, when you consider what Workington have lost, they've lost more than half a dozen stars since last season when they secured their place in the Super League. Mark Mulligan's gone, so has Desi Drummond, Brad Heapy, James Pickering, Stuart Cocker, Kyle White and Kevin Ellis. They've all left. Kurt Sorensen has had to battle his way through this season with just about the bare bones of a squad of about 18 players.
Well, he knew it wasn't going to be easy, but he did say to the players before tonight's match that this could be the end of the road for them. They had to start performing, otherwise he would start changing things. And by that, a few of the players could be shipped out. The only problem is that they don't have a great deal of depth.
Lawless trying to take matters into his own hands. He gets the ball, but he was knocked on. He knocked the ball forward as he went to regather his own kick there.
Full credit, though, from the hooker. Once again, Workington caught on the blind side, a little kick through. And Mark Johnson showing the nerves.
And showing inexperience. He's not a fullback. But Lawless is a hooker, no doubt about that.
Looks like one anyway.
Steve-O, just going back to the Workington situation, you're right, they haven't got much depth, but they brought the 2 New Zealanders in, Palmada and Filippo. They've got a couple of Tongans on the way as well, from all accounts.
Well, things looking brighter. Sorensen was quite happy with the fact that Lafayette Filippo, it's his first game really. He's come on as a substitute on a couple of occasions. And Filippo and the other New Zealander, Palmada, it's going to take them a while to bed in, but they're showing up well tonight.
McGinty over the top, a little bit of experience there to Pape. Pape to Penrice. McGinty has supported the attack. They keep the ball alive. This is Johnson over the top again. Long pass, and Sheffield could be exposed out wide here. That's good tackling by Linton Stott on Vince Fawcett. Phillips straight into the arms of Dakwitoga. Well, that really was a prop forwards kick, wasn't it, on the tackle?
Not the most inventive way there on the kick. It should have been a lot deeper. Sheffield were caught then. Right over on the left-hand side. The winger, Bright Sodji, had moved in for the interception. That's where they got the overlap.
This now is Paul Carr for the Eagles. Good tackling, though, again from McGinty. And also Filippo. The two new men have certainly stiffened the pack, Filippo and Palmada, no doubt about that. There's Palmada, the 13, in black, doing the tackling.
They brought us some crunch tackles. Well, the Eagles coach, Hetherington, quite happy. I think they go to the half-time break with this so he can have a bit of a sort out. But he needs someone out there, and I think that Richard Price might come on. They need him.
There's Maiko, and it's his high kick. And here comes Johnson, and he never had an idea how to get hold of that. Look at him. He's not a full-back, the poor lad.
He's wearing number 1, and that's a problem. Maybe Kurt Sorensen will be thinking about changing something there. Be hard to find someone to go into it.
Well, he's got a couple of youngsters, Lee Smith and Mark Wallace, and he's got a bit of experience in Phil McKenzie and Gary Schubert. But I don't think any of them are full-backs.
Well, I know one guy that'd play there, and that'd be Phil McKenzie. I know he's normally a hooker. But it's certainly got a little bit of power to their side. Once again, the kick deep.
Yeah, down this side. This time it was from Marwood because Wayne Kitchen is in back play receiving treatment.
Been monotonous down this left-hand side. Just shows you how a team can stick to the game plan. The coach says kick to a weak side. They obviously feel that the inexperienced Dakwatoga has the problems.
It's Sheffield who are in possession here. That was Gamson, and this is Garcia, and out wide is Sodji, who can motor. Now Sodji wants to take on Johnson. He wants to take them all on. And Frace funneled back, and so too did Penrice. That's a much better run right at the end of the first half, because that's the half-time siren. And he's lucky there because Penrice could easily have been penalised for interfering at the play of the ball. But a very interesting first half in many ways. Sheffield Eagles ahead early and looking pretty good. And then Wayne Kitchen and company got Workington Town back into it. Kitchen's try, as he limps off, separates the two sides. Dakwitoga has seen plenty of the football. Most of it, it's been sailing past him and into touch. But this is the way Workington took the lead, and usually one against the head for Workington Town. Kitchen got to it. Lawford didn't complete the tackle, and that was a fair try. And Town ahead 8-4.
Manda.
Sheffield Eagles started so well. They led 4-0, and then Workington hit them with two great tries. Roland Phillips and Wayne Kitchen. It's 8-4 at half-time, and the team that's at the bottom of the table leads by 4 points at the break. Andy Hay giving Sheffield Eagles the perfect start, but Workington hitting back and coming right back into this match. And remember, they haven't won a game for the past 9 matches in the big league. Brian Smith is watching the match with us on Sky Sports tonight. Brian, it's often the way, isn't it? You're in a dreadful run of form, you come up against a team that's bang in form, and you catch the eye.
We heard Paul Dixon say before kick-off tonight, who's not playing tonight, obviously, that this was the biggest game coming for them because of the motivational factor. They played 4 big teams, big noting teams or big name teams. Tonight they have to play against Workington, and everybody expects them to win. But Workington have done exactly what they did in that game we saw a few weeks ago, a couple of months ago, against Warrington. They've played very, very steady football. Steve-O referred to it as monotonous, how they're coming down this left-hand side of the field and kicking the ball in behind Mr. D. I'll call him Mr. D. In behind Mr. D.
Steve, I'll give you a pronunciation lesson later.
That particular tactic in the end has worked for them, because they actually scored off the scrum, in that corner where Mr. D was standing over in the field of play, as you pointed out, Steve-O. So that tactic, in effect, I think it's kind of negative, or it's holding possession, but in the end it's actually led to the try that's got them in front.
Dakwatoga is the guy's name, if you
Mr.
if
D,
you must
as
know.
I said.
But
10 out of 10.
Well, it's a case of the two coaches. We talk about game plans. Brian obviously has his at Bradford, and the fact that Sheffield worked out that Mark Johnson is not a fullback, so the kicking game should have gone. Whilst Mark Aston was on the paddock, that's what they were doing. They were also working the blind side. The first 15 minutes, it looked as though Workington didn't want to get involved into the game. And Sheffield, all they had to do was keep the ball alive. The big problem was they started making mistakes. They had some good runs, especially from the prop forward Danny McAllister. And then they went on the blind side, and good play. They caught Workington once again on the blind. And I'm sure that the coach, Kurt Sorensen, would have sent out the word, hey, come on, fellas. If you don't perform there, he told them before the game, this was their last chance. He hasn't got a great deal of depth, but he'll throw youngsters in just to prove that players just can't turn up and train and expect to be selected.
Well, to be fair, he's under no pressure this year, is he? I mean, he can do that sort of thing.
Well, I wouldn't want his job, but yes.
This was a nice piece of variation. This was what led to a scrum. And, you know, all three tries have been scored from very close range, haven't they? The two for Workington. There's the barging try by Roland Phillips. A bit of his old rugby union skills, I guess, coming in there, but he really bullocked his way underneath and did well to get the ball down. And then this try where Dak Batoga's in the centre field, expecting the ball to come out with scrum and with a head and feed, and the ball goes the other way.
He shouldn't have done, though, should he? Because that was the third time that scrum had been put down, and each time it had come out on Workington's side.
Well, that's the inexperience. He thought perhaps that on the third occasion, it's very rare that does occur. I mean, it's rare that we get three scrums anyway. They normally just say, oh, get on with it. But full credit to the Workington forwards. They pushed, because the Sheffield Six thought, oh, all we have to do is lean these days. So that's good tactics.
Well, if you win a scrum 3 times against the feed, you're probably entitled to score a try. I wouldn't be too critical of Dak Batoga there, because I think he was doing as he'd been told. I mean, he's hit the ball up from all those scrums, all those kicks that have gone to that side of the field. He's had the job of making the next play, of carrying the ball in and making yardage. So he got where he was supposed to be.
Oh, don't feel sorry for him. You'd love him to do exactly the same tactic against Bradford.
Somebody else is at fault for that, and that's the 6 people who had their heads in
And that was a try, by the way.
It was a fair try.
No doubt about it. Dean Lawford had lost contact with the man as he hit the ground, and that was good refereeing there.
Well, the tackle wasn't completed, although it looked for a moment that he had made the double movement.
Referees sometimes do make mistakes, you know.
Never.
Do they?
Never.
Sometimes.
Not on television.
I wonder whether we would have seen that try 7 days from now, when they're going to play with the ball and the scrums going down 20 metres in from touch.
Well, I think you'll see more of that, Eddie.
Do you?
I think you will. I think it opens up 2 sides of the field, and I think you'll see a little more adventure from that area. But maybe some more set pieces from the back involving back rowers, maybe a fullback standing here and lapping round to the short side. I think it shows...
But haven't they just now said that the scrum is purely and simply for restarting the game?
Not anymore. We've just seen it.
Well,
bring it in 20 yards now. They're bringing in another 10 metres, come on the inside. And that means, as Brian said, where is a fullback in defence going to stand? Normally he stands out on the blind side. Normally he goes across. It's going to confuse a lot of people.
Well, I'm glad they brought these new rules in, because there's certainly something to talk about and something to discuss, isn't there, during the course of these games. We will be seeing it all in action ourselves a week tonight, when we have Warrington against Castleford for you on the Big League. But tonight we've got a real contest and a real scrap from the team that's at the foot of the table. And old Roland Phillips, well, he was not going to be stopped from that range, was he? Workington Town lead by 8 points to 4 at half-time.
Come up and see me to make me smile.
Link Skin System Aftershave puts back the moisture life takes out.
Fancy a wee teachers? Yeah. Bob? You forgot the ice. You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
I'll come back, Natalie.
And?
I won't forget. I'll get you some. I promise.
Hi. Everything okay?
Dad? Here, try this. Roaring 40s.
Hello. I wonder if you can help me.
Certainly. How many... Albert? Natalie?
Well, I did promise.
Title contenders, or just there to make up the numbers? Ford Escort Super Sunday brings you Nottingham Forest versus Aston Villa, a top-of-the-table clash that'll have the top three looking over their shoulders. And then on Ford Escort Monday Night Football, Everton versus West Ham, with the Blues out for revenge after being hammered earlier in the season. It's an exclusively live Premiership double, Sunday and Monday on Sky Sports.
Seize the day.
Workington Town have never won here at Don Valley, but at half-time the job is 50% completed this year. 8 points to 4 they lead. The try from Hay made it 4-0 for Sheffield, and Phillips and Kitchen replied with 2 tries for Workington. But Kitchen, we hear, has gone off with a twisted knee in this second half to come, and he is going to be replaced by Phil Mackenzie. But that is Mr. D of Sheffield, Joe Dakwitoga, the Fijian international, and he really can play anywhere. Played in all the World Cup matches and a try against South Africa at Keighley. He did play for Penrith Panthers in the Winfield Cup, 1 appearance in 1995 and 6 appearances in 1994. Joe Dakwitoga and Brian Smith obviously having a quick word to the Bradford pronunciation unit to check how to say the name Mr. D during our analysis of the match at the end of tonight's programme.
He could well have spotted a bit of talent out there. Who knows?
Well, I suppose they have a few shillings to spend after the Paul Newlove affair. Dean Marwood, who was involved, by the way, in a pretty serious car accident yesterday. Car in a bit of a mess, but he is all right, thankfully. And he gets the second half of this Stones Bitter Centenary Championship match underway for Workington. As I say, they've had to make the change. Mackenzie is on for Wayne Kitchen, who's off. And they will miss him because Kitchen was kicking the life out of Sheffield towards the end of that first half.
Well, the one advantage they do have is that Dean Marwood is an excellent kicker also. So perhaps they may not lose too much in that department. Oh, but what a great tackle there.
Ian Hughes has gone off, and Mick Cook, the veteran, has come on. And that is Mick Cook, number 16, making the last of those 52 metres in that particular set of 6. The high kick from Lawford, and that's a better take this time from Mark Johnson, although there was no pressure on him.
A little bit too far, not allowing the chasers time to get involved there. But you can see that Gary Hetherington has told his chargers in this second stanza to make sure that the ball is high. Remember, on a couple of occasions in the first half, that Sheffield wasted opportunities to get the bomb going.
fact, one of them was on the 6th tackle to have a handover.
That's 4 tackles gone for Workington. And I don't think it's any surprise at all that Gary Hetherington has turned to Mick Cook, the 34-year-old, to come into this match in the second half. He's got a lot of experience. And that's a decision for the referee, David Campbell. It was on the last tackle, all this untidiness, so it's the turnover. Although he's going to have a quick word with the touch judge.
Well, it was a charge down, which meant that it was play on, and then he's deemed that Jean-Marc Garcia knocked on after that. A charge down of a kick is not a knock on, so this is deemed as a charge on, but he knocked on after it, and there it is. That's a little one.
There's Mick Cook, number 16, getting stuck in to the tackling. Over 230 appearances for Eagles now, loose forward against Warrington. Another great servant to the game. And what's more, Mick Cook, he fulfilled an ambition in the summer. He played in Australia in the New South Wales country competition and made it all the way through to the grand final. So he's a real old stalwart, is Mick Cook, and I think, Steve, that's why Hetherington's brought him on, to just add a little bit of stiffness to this Sheffield defence.
Well, he realised they needed that experience, someone to just guide them somewhat. But this Workington Town pack is running rampage now. They're getting over that advantage line with ease. The support play is a lot better too.
Filippo to the number 6 Marwood, who gets it out wide to force it, and it's still play on. That came off a Sheffield Eagles player. Pape hacked it forward, but he hit it too hard and it ran dead.
Nice option. A little bit kicked through, and then Pape went at it. Just a little bit too far. Now, it's important that Town get their defence solid now.
That there is Jean-Marc Garcia, French international. This now is Lawless, and he gives it to Lawford, and he finds Maiko, and Maiko gets it away to Andy Hay. Andy Hay, the former Castleford player. Here's Maiko again. It's a run from David Maiko. Good tackling note from Phil McKenzie. More experience, of course, on the field in the shape of McKenzie for Workington Town. And that's the last tackle. That's the turnover.
Well, once again, we see Sheffield not up for the bomb. They realised that Mark Johnson is not a full-back, and we saw again the turnover. That is poor play, I'm afraid.
They're lacking the man who's off injured with the pulled muscle in the leg. That's Mark Aston. He's gone off. And they are lacking direction without him. Here now is Billy McGinty. Not often you see Billy McGinty in a headband, but he's got one now. And Filippo plays the ball just inside the Eagles' half of the field. And Marwood again kicks for touch, this time to Bright Sodji's side. They're content to turn them round, Steve, aren't they? Old-fashioned tactics.
Yeah, but they work, and they're certainly working tonight. You did mention that Filippo, the prop forward, played the ball. Well, I'm not so sure. I think he did a typical old-fashioned play of the ball too. He just rolled it behind him, never touched it with the foot. They're looking to get away with that one.
Here's Sodji now. Tackled by Pape. Garcia into the arms of Cook once more. Now Broadbent, the English international, picks up steam.
Did a fine World Cup at Paul Broadbent. He's the skipper tonight, and he's got to lead by example. But a lot of pressure on this youngster, Dean Lawford. So the experienced Broadbent and the young Lawford have to really show the way.
This is Paul Carr. He gets the pass into Garcia. Good run from Garcia. Shrugging the tackles off. But McKenzie stuck to the task. 58 metres made. Little dab through by Lawford. And that came off Armstrong. That's going to be a knock-on. He lost it.
He did lose it as well. Nice little kick from Lawford. Just weighted it well. Beautiful kick there. Fullback Mark Johnson really should have called for it. He could see it quite clearly.
That ball, every time Sheffield feed it, it really does bounce around all over the place in that scrum, and they're lucky to get away with it again. Much more lucky to get away with a possible knock-on by Lawford. The referee, David Campbell, spot on. And so it's Garcia over the top looking for Dakwitoga, and it wasn't the best pass to the big Fijian, and he couldn't pick it up.
Oh, Fruit Loop time, isn't it? Just loop the ball across. Well, mistakes creeping into this game, and they will prove vital. Dakwitoga, a little chance of getting that.
Now David Frace. Oh, and Palmada loses it. Or was it stolen?
Yes, it was. There's the hand. Looks like Garcia it is. Yep, the Frenchman whipped the ball away. Now that's silly play because they were applying the pressure on the Workington Town's quarter. That relieves it somewhat. And the way that Workington forwards are playing, oh, well taken there. Marwood took that so well. But the way that the Workington pack are playing, they're quite happy to just bang it down the middle.
And Filippo goes down the middle, and he attracts 3 tacklers to him whenever he gets the ball, the big New Zealand prop forward. 30 years old he is. This is the other prop forward from Wales, Roland Phillips. Lovely support play from Vince Fawcett. 3 tackles gone, and Workington now within 10 metres of the line. That's Marwood. He misses out one and finds McGinty. He finds Palmada. Palmada out to Penrice. Penrice takes the tackle from Sodji. Mark Johnson's moved up and supporting this attack. Here's Palmada again. Going down the blind side, Palmada. Came to Kurt Sorensen at Workington with high recommendations from New Zealand. Marwood with a kick across the face. It's going to go. It should have come up for them. It really should have come up for them.
Well, Mackenzie couldn't believe it.
Get to it.
He could see try time written all over that football. All he had to do was take it and turn around. It went straight through his legs. What an awful mistake. And the chance is gone.
Well, is this the moment when the match turns Sheffield's way? I wonder if we look back on that, Steve-O, and say, was that the turning point?
That was try time. The Sheffield Eagles defence were just scattered all over the place. There was no one out wide, and that's play on.
Yes, he tried to release the ball. Did Paul Broadbent, and he did release the ball, but the wrong way. Here's Johnson.
Well, not the sort of thing you expect from your captain.
Now Armstrong. David Frace, the dummy half. And here's Filippo again.
The Eagles are getting frustrated. They know that Workington are just driving with these forwards relentlessly at them.
Palmada and McGinty. That's a good tackle, though, from the prop forward McAllister for the Eagles. Here's Mackenzie. Mackenzie trying to come up with 4 after the mistake. And Gamson has it back for Eagles.
Tremendous play from the fullback there. Put his body on the line. You could see Mackenzie show the foot. He brought it back. He just thought that he tried to force him out of it, but Gamson had not earned it. Oh, body on the line there. Great stuff from Gamson. No fear at all.
Mick Cook plays the ball to Lawford, and he finds McAllister. In turn finds Andy Hay, and Hay is cleaned out with a terrific 2-man tackle. Bethwaite and Armstrong. There's Bethwaite again getting a tackle in on Lawless. Andy Hay, the dummy half.
Bit high then from Filippo, Eddie.
Oh, Lawford trying to get the ball away when he's going down, and that was round the ankles again.
Well, there was a set move. They brought Sodji in off the wing. They knew it was on and the gap was there, but I'm afraid he was going to the ground. Half chance. They're just not taking them. They're trying to force the pass a little bit too much. They're frustrated. They really have to just slow things down. They're only 4 points adrift and plenty of time.
And plenty of handling errors too. 11-7. Sheffield Eagles have made 11 to Workington 7. It's Workington in possession now with Roland Phillips. Here's Filippo once more.
Had a fine game, hasn't he, the big prop forward from North Harbour in New Zealand.
McGinty takes the tackle. Traces the dummy half. There's Marwood. This is a high up and under. Gamson comes up with it. No problems at all.
Calm, cool and collected there from Gamson. Second occasion that he's saved the Eagles, should I say.
Maiko takes the tackle. It was high from Pape. A great take from the fullback.
Tremendous stuff.
Pape picked out for a high tackle.
Just going over the top there. And it comes, there you see it. Well over the shoulder. Well spotted by the referee, David Campbell.
Well, you know, Steve-O, it's hard to believe the way Workington are playing, and I hope I don't hex them by saying this, that we're watching the worst defence in the big league tonight. They've conceded 490 points before this evening.
Well, in the first 15 minutes, you saw the reasons why, but they've tightened it up. Have you put the X on them?
Well, not on that occasion, although Lawless thought that a try was beckoning and the ball's come free. And here's a decision for touch judge and referee, and the decision is penalty because someone stole the ball in the tackle from Lawless. Oh, and he says, not me, says David Frace. Not Gilles.
No, no, no. Oui, I'm afraid.
So it's a chance for a shot at goal here for Sheffield Eagles. David Frace penalised for stealing the ball in the tackle.
Pretty hard to see from there, but there was definitely interference.
Well, it was Mick Cook who was Lawless, wasn't it, who was grounded.
Good thinking, Eddie, by the Sheffield Eagles there to take the 2 points on offer. Plenty of time up their sleeve.
Well, we haven't had a successful kick at goal yet tonight. Maiko trying to change that statistic right away. And he does, so he narrows the gap by 2. Maiko, the former under-21 international, Sheffield 6, Workington Town 8. It's getting tighter.
There's the incident again, but it was a good run there, wasn't it, by Lawless? He's had a fine game. He's worked hard. Some good runs from dummy half, but good scrambling defence. Frace deemed to have reefed the ball out. Anxious times for Kurt Sorensen.
Well, he knows his team have come here with that dreadful record of never having won at the Don Valley. And 8-6, it's getting closer and closer now, quarter an hour or thereabouts of the second half gone. And Sheffield Eagles, they haven't displayed any of the sort of form that has seen them win the last 4, and when you consider the likes of Leeds, St Helens and Warrington have perished against this team, it is really testimony to the way Workington Town are playing tonight.
They have lost their way a lot, though. They have not used their full set of 6, and when they get to the last tackle, they've failed to utilise the kick. It's the second handover they've given.
This is Lawless again, and Roland Phillips collars him and brings him to the ground. Cook is the dummy half. And there's Lawford again with a high kick. A tester for Penrice, and he takes it well. Well, we were saying off air at half-time, Steve, well, perhaps Penrice is the replacement full-back if Kurt Sorensen wants to make a change.
If he takes the ball like that, yes. No fear there by the winger. Wasn't a back kick in the end from Dean Lawford, who was trying very hard, a swinging arm there.
Great run though from Fawcett, fabulous run. Not the best pass though. David Frace had to apply the brakes. Now then, Colin Armstrong taking it up down the middle again. Releasing the pass, finding Palmada. The support arrives, and this is Penrice. He was tackled though, and tackled well by Solji. Johnson, the dummy half. Roland Phillips. Again, they take it up the middle, doing the hard yards. 73 metres. And they think of a little kick for the corner, and the kick for the corner comes about, but it beats Penrice. And Mackenzie just tried to unlock the door down the right-hand side, but what a break from Vince Fawcett.
Look at the strength there. Steps out of the tackle, upper body strength, hands off. Notice how he switches the ball so he can get the ball away. It wasn't the best.
Well, Vince Fawcett needs 2 tries for a career 50. Leading scorer so far for Workington Town with 7. Parramatta during the summer. I don't think the trip to Australia has done that particular young man any harm. As Gamson goes off and Price comes on for Sheffield.
No, the confidence is showing there, and they'll need it. Now, is that a knock-on? I think you'll find that Roland Phillips has been deemed to touch that.
Knock-on by Town.
Yes, knock-on by Town, says David Campbell, the referee. You might have heard that with our effects mic on the sideline. Definite.
Well, it's Armstrong.
To it. Yeah. So here's Mr. D, Joe Dakwitoga.
Well, the dummy runs from the hooker, John Lawless, for the Eagles, has made the breaks, and they really have got to support him a little bit more than what they have done.
David Maiko playing the ball to Lawless. He went round and round in a 360-degree circle then. There's Mick Cook into the arms of Price, and he helps it wide to Lawford, and he gives it further wide to Linton Stott, and Fawcett with the tackle. And it bounces then off the prop forward McAllister, and there's a big shout for offside. Referee said play on. And Garcia almost through, but a good tackle by Palmada. This is Sodji. There's Lawford again. That could be 6 to go. Cook into the arms of Maiko. Broadbent further out wide to Stott. There's Dakwitoga, and Dakwitoga scores. Joe Dakwitoga, his first try in the big league. The big Fijian international winger for Sheffield Eagles. And perhaps that's why he's been hugging the touchline for so long tonight.
Well, they finally utilised the kick, didn't they? It was a nice one through from Lawford. They got the bounce, the charge down, skimmed the ball out wide, and you could see that the defence was stretched. And the big fella in at the corner. Dakwitoga gets the first try for himself, but it was a neat little kick there. It came off Armstrong. They did well to keep it alive. You could see the Workington Town, they were stretched. Good try. For once, the Eagles have spun it along the line, but they utilised the kick on the last. They didn't die with the football, keeping the ball alive, and here comes the big fella. Good stuff.
Dakwitoga's first try in the big league, and it gives Sheffield Eagles the lead by 2 points, 10 points to 8. Maiko from way out west. Chance to increase the lead. It's got chances, but it just fades short of the posts. He knows how important that could have been. Sheffield 10, Workington 8. Good contest.
There you see the defence is caught short. They've got to move out quickly. They do. It was all a matter of gaining the overlap, and they did just that. Well finished. Good play by Stott to send in the winger.
Back to strength then, didn't he, Dakwitoga? 30 years old, trying to make his mark in the big league. Referee David Campbell just wanting or wondering whether Workington want to make the change. Gary Schubert is there, and he's going to come on for Filippo. So the New Zealander goes off to be replaced by the Australian. I told you, with the Frenchmen and Welshmen and South Africans, that this is the League of Nations we're watching tonight.
He's worked hard, played well as Filippo. Obviously running out of gas, according to his coach, Kurt Torrington. Fresh blood, that's what's needed. 2 points adrift now.
Gary Schubert knows what the big league's all about. It's his 10th year in the UK. Sheffield enjoying the better of the possession in this second half. The 10th year for Gary Schubert in British football. Salford and Carlisle he played with before Workington. But you get the feeling that gradually the Eagles are getting more and more into this match.
Well, they've started to work harder, keep the ball alive. They've also finished off their full set of 6 and applied the pressure.
That was a lovely short ball. This is Linton Stott, and Linton Stott's dancing his way to the line, and Linton Stott scores. A beautiful ball it was, though, from Andy Hay. Short ball, and he shot through the gap, did Stott. And he applied the gas. And he beat the covering defenders to the line. And what's more, right bang under the black dot.
Hit them as soon as you can. They've kept the ball alive. It went out at Sodji on their left wing and then out onto the right. But a lovely in and out there from the second rower, Andy Hay. And the centre, Linton Stott, nice step. That is a great try. But the second rower, Hay, delayed the pass long enough, just in time. Beautiful this. See how it just in and out, sucks in the defence. Once it drawn in Vince Fawcett, this centre steps inside. Cover got nowhere. All about swinging the ball out wide. It was beautiful hands from Sheffield. See how he ducks in and out, releases it at the right moment. Good positioning though, and Linton Stott hairs his way underneath the sticks. Pretty to watch, and this is sheer skill. You can see that Armstrong and the centre Vince Fawcett went for the same man. That was Andy Hay, and it released this man, Stott.
4 tries in 3 matches for Linton Stott, and what's more, 3 tries in 8 minutes for Sheffield Eagles. And Mygo now from bang in front, and he adds the extra 2. They're happy enough now, the Eagles supporters, because Sheffield are ahead by 16 points to 8. They've suddenly taken control in this second half. Andy Hay in possession. What a lovely ball it was from him, Steve-O.
Just did the dip inside, dropped the shoulder. It was enough to just bring in the centre, Vince Fawcett. And when 2 men go for 1 man, it leaves the overlap. And the centre, Linton Stott, raced onto it. Perfect timing.
Well, Workington Town can now see all the hard work tonight evaporating. They're trailing 16-8.
Andy Hay.
And what's more, Sheffield Eagles have really, with the changes that Gary Hetherington has made, number 15, Richard Price, 16, Mick Cook, and 14, David Myko, they have done the trick for him. And they're running with a lot more confidence. That's Myko. This is Garcia. This is Sodji. Sodji, the arm has not touched the ground yet, but the tackle is now completed. Lawless to Lawford. Lawford with a dink over the top. Hay is after it. Oh, and a mistake from Johnson. But he got away with it because he was facing his own line. The crowd don't like it.
We're going to get used to it. It went backwards. Knock on is only when it goes forward. But you could see how shaky the fullback Mark Johnson has been all throughout this game. And now Sheffield realising that they've got to apply the pressure onto him. But we've seen in the last 5 minutes the kind of open football that the reason why the Sheffield Eagles has beaten Oldham, Leeds, St Helens, Warrington in their last 4 games. Quite impressive.
Nolan Phillips unloads the pass. That's Schubert. And this is Bethwaite. And Bethwaite took the big gamble because Sodji was there, and all Palmada could do was just palm the ball forward.
Well, he should have fallen on this, at least force the scrum. Big hit there, but the Australian, New Zealander, Palmada, really should have finished that ball off. Good play, though, by Bright Sodji. He took the gamble to get himself involved there and apply the pressure. If he'd have missed him, it was try time. Workington had 2 men out wide.
Lawford, the dummy half. Broadbent. The supporting acts are suddenly there for Sheffield Eagles. Sodji gets the ball away. Everything's coming off for them at the moment. That's Cook. This is Carr. Paul Carr round the outside, and another try for Eagles. Oh, this game's turned upside down second half. It was a pretty poor effort at the tackle out wide, but Paul Carr just stepped through the challenger and over for his 7th try of the season.
Keeping the ball alive again, supporting the man with the football. That's what it's all about, running onto it. See now they turn in the tackle. They took the gamble, and it paid off. Once again, out there, but really he should have been taken away. Paul Carr should have been taken out wide. It was the poor attempt. The defence wasn't all that good. Penrice really should have got him. Well, you have to make your tackles, and you can see the desperation there of Billy McGinty who shouts at this moment. You see McGinty saying, go out, I'll take the inside man. And I'm afraid Penrice failed to do that. The look of disgust on McGinty tells it all. But full credit to the Eagles. They've kept this ball alive. It may have not looked pretty until then. But this was good work by Carr. Helped along by not the best attempt by Penrice. But the Eagles are really, really running hot now.
Great try from Paul Carr. Here's David Maiko again. 2 out of 3. It's a touch more difficult, but he gets the extras. And suddenly the game is slipping away from Workington Town. After at half-time they look to have it in their pockets. And the Eagle man, he's pretty pleased as well, isn't he? He's a great character, him, actually.
Great character. He tackled me twice before the game started.
It's all right, he tackled Bill Arthur as well. He's a good judge.
Bill Arthur's a lot fitter than I.
But I tell you what, Steve-O, the changes that Gary Hetherington has made, and particularly the experienced head of Mick Cook in number 16, changed the course of this match with some drama here.
Well, he realised that he had to settle things down. He knew that he had plenty of time, and he knew he had confidence in his players, the skills there. All they had to do was stop making those silly mistakes and allowing Workington to control the game, because the Workington pack were doing exactly that. A lot of credit must go to this fella, though, John Lawless. He's done a lot of work from the dummy half situation. He's made the Workington second markers work all night.
Suddenly it's Sheffield Eagles who are kicking deep. And Frace picks up behind his own line, and he's in trouble, Frace. That's a great chase, but David Frace should have picked it up and got out of trouble.
Great play by Dean Lawford. I always said it was a lot of responsibility on the youngster, but he's come out in the second half and he really has wound the side up. Came from Dewsbury Moor, same club as Ryan Sheridan, so they've certainly got good depth here at Sheffield.
Well, we heard from the injured Mark Aston during the first half when things were going desperately for Sheffield Eagles. I fancy he'll be a little happier now. Here he is with Bill.
Dumb in the first half, Mark. What about this second half?
Well, let's say it's a little bit smarter, but we're still not happy with it. The credit to the boys, they've stuck at the task. We know if we could get one try, then these would probably crumble, which has happened. You know, we're still not happy. I know the boys will come off today and they'll be all gutted. I think Paul Carr, apart from that mistake, has been playing extremely well down the left-hand side. A great try there. You know, we've got to be happy because we're going to get 2 points, but we've got some work to do in training this week.
Thanks, Mark.
I wonder if he'll be fit to take part in the training with the pull muscle at the front of the leg. 22 points to 8, his team lead anyway, as we approach the last 10 minutes here. Gary Hetherington having a word or two on the sideline with Mark Gampson.
Well, it's safety first with his scoreline at 22-8. Make sure that defence is solid and not allow Workington back into this game with silly play.
10 minutes to go. And frankly, Marwood, although he finds touch, what was the point of that? Because all he's doing is turning them round. And he's eating up the clock, and they're 22-8 down.
Well, the tactics were good in the first half, and when they were taking control for the first 10 minutes in the second, and I'm afraid a lofted kick would have been a better option. They are desperate to score a try, get back into this match. With just 10 minutes remaining.
Well, Mal Yasser comes on, another Fijian, and he replaces the Australian McAllister. Debut against St Helens last Wednesday. And apparently he ran in a hat-trick, did Mal Yasser, in the reserve team fixture last night in 6 minutes.
Well, I hope you were watching that play the ball there from the substitute Richard Price, because you won't see that again. He played it to himself. It's like the dinosaurs. Bye-bye. No more of that from Monday.
Here come Sheffield Eagles again. But that time, their centre, Linton Stott, just couldn't wheel the ball in. Under pressure from Frace.
Just trying to keep the ball alive a little bit too much. Well, it hasn't been a happy night for that particular Frenchman, David Fraze.
Well, he's claiming to the touch judge on the far side the ball was stolen from him. But the referee and touch judge had a little word, and it's knock-on that's been given. That's why Sheffield have head and feet at that scrum. Sodji's there to pick up the pieces.
Well, I was just about to say that Richard Price would calm things down. You can see he just lost it.
Here's Yasser on halfway. The big, strong Fijian.
Just getting back to that point, I was just about to say that Richard Price, the experience there to throw it down, it was the worst pass you could ever see.
Here's Mick Cook, he just hangs on, keeps possession. Now don't forget, on Sunday we'll see London against the Bradford Bulls as London move into their new home permanently, the Valley, Charlton's ground. And Steve-O and I were there for boots and all on Tuesday, and a tidy little ground it is. I'm sure the Broncos will be made to feel very much at home there. London against Bradford Bulls. Brian Smith in the commentary box tonight, but he will be on the coaching bench on Sunday. Reminds me, Steve-O, we must ask him for his team before he goes home tonight.
Nice little kick through by Richard Price. They had the opportunity. You just get the impression that Workington are a very tired outfit now. They've given it all. They control this game for about 45 minutes. You could see the skill has really come out of Sheffield in this latter part of the game. Keeping the ball alive, it really has been impressive to watch.
Well, Workington, 9 straight league defeats. They're now on the brink of 10 straight league defeats, and they must be pretty demoralised, Steve-O, because the match has turned upside down on them in, what, 20 minutes of this second half?
Yes, it won't do them any good at all. It has been a good effort from them. Limited resources. We knew that they would use their pack very strongly.
3 tries in 12 minutes. The Sheffield Eagles side has run past them.
Well, let's not take anything away from the Sheffield Eagles, because they obviously banked on their confidence. They banked on the fact that they could eventually get the game going, keeping the ball out wide. And here's the big fella.
Al Yasser takes the tackle of 3. And this is Lawless, almost through. Desperate defence from Marwood. Just managed to get a hand to his ankles. Broadbent to Lawford. Ball comes back. Mick Cook will try and pick it up. Right mess for the referee to decide here. Knock on both ways. He'll play the first one, and it'll be head and feed to Workington. They'll breathe a sigh of relief for that.
Well, I think eventually he's deemed that Mick Cook, perhaps, or, well, he had plenty to choose from, didn't he?
David Brace off. Lee Smith, 20-year-old, first appearance in the first team squad this season, comes on. Billy McGinty gets wearily to his feet. And here's Kevin Pape. Good tackling by Mick Cook. He has done a terrific job for his coach tonight.
Stuck to him like glue there, didn't he? Made sure he went on the outside. And you see the Sheffield defence, they're moving up quickly. They're getting it all sorted out now in defence.
Inside the last 5, Sheffield will think that this match is well won. Schubert gives it to Pape and gets the return, but then knocks the ball forward. Well, why did Pape do that?
Well, they got nothing to lose with less than 5 minutes left. 22-8, you've got to force the pass.
They have a look, Steve-O, now, a demoralised outfit, Workington, and yet they look so cocky at half-time when they went off.
Well, I think the game changed, especially, okay, you mentioned the substitutes coming on, fresh legs, but when they took the opportunity of taking those 2 points, they calmed things down. It gave them chance to sort of take their breath and get the chance for their coach, Gary Hetherington, to get the right message out. And when they got within 2 points, there looked to be no doubt in my mind that Sheffield were going to run away with it.
Garcia takes another tackle. Here's Yasser. Oh, he's a big, rough lad, isn't he? Hat-trick last night in the reserves, eh?
He's a big boy.
How will he do, Steve-O, and the rest of these Fijians when they're playing next season in the sunshine rather than these sub-zero temperatures?
Well, if they play as well as this ladder has tonight, they'll be all smiles at Sheffield Eagles. It's all about obtaining depth. We've seen that from Wigan over the years, that you need depth to become a champion side. And full credit to the Sheffield Eagles and their coach, Gary Hetherington. And slowly but surely building up a very good squad.
Here's Lawford, lovely little sidestep, spins away from another tackle. Gets the pass away to Cook. Always the man there in support, Mick Cook. And this now is Maiko, and Maiko gets it out wide, and the ball back inside to Paul Carr, and Paul Carr gets his second. They kept the ball alive well. Cook supported when it looked like it was going to die, restarted the momentum, and Paul Carr, his 8th try of the season, second tonight.
Maybe called Carr, but I tell you what, this was runaway truck time. Beautiful play. Cook get the ball out wide, back on the inside, and the determination there, get out of the way. That really was upper body strength. Sensational stuff. He's had a fine second half, this youngster. Dean Lawford, look at that. Confidence, keeping the ball alive. Mick Cook, as Eddie said, came on in the second half, really has injected a new lease of life. Boof, get out of the way. Super stuff. More, please.
Great try from Paul Carr. We mentioned servants to this game. 100th appearance against Warrington, his 50th try against St Helens. 18 tries last season, he was the top scorer then. That's his 8th for this campaign. And he's leading scorer again this season. That's on its way. It's all going right for the Eagles now. And Maiko makes it 28 points to 8.
Once Dean Lawford had sent the ball out wide, you can see 3 tight defenders there. Shouting for the football. And Card on the inside. But this, oh, get out of that way. Cheerleaders happy, and so is that man, and rightly so. It's been a fine finish from the Eagles.
You have to feel sorry for Workington. This is a cruel game when you're down, and when losing becomes a habit. It's a shocking habit to try and break. And Sheffield will say, when you're up and you're winning, it's a great habit, and you don't want to lose it. And they haven't lost it tonight. And Linton Stott is running so strongly. Support there from Cook again, and Garcia's through. And that's another try for Sheffield Eagles. 2 in 2 minutes. Garcia, the Frenchman, is first for the Sheffield club. Big smile, and they love it now.
I requested more, please, and they served it up. What a tremendous run. Determination by Linton Stott. Get out of the way. Neat little pass, and here he comes. Jean-Marc Garcia. 10 out of 10 for the dive, too. Only gets 4 for the try. Determination. Linton Stott, look at that. They talk about second effort. The Americans use it all the time. Second effort makes you a champion. Good support play. Garcia. Super stuff.
He enjoyed that, didn't he, Jean-Marc? David Maiko, 4 from 5 and banged in front. It'll be 5 out of 6 in a moment. 5 out of 6 it is. And Sheffield Eagles really are now rubbing salt into Workington's wounds. 34 points to 8.
One had already missed. There's 2 there. You've got to get them down. They went too high, but what a great step off the right foot from Linton Stott. Determination. Oh, little shimmy inside from the Frenchman. Super. He'll be happy.
And the Eagles will be happy too. That's 5 second-half tries in the space of 20 minutes, and we're now in stoppage time. When you look back at the story of this match, in the 53rd minute, it was 6 points to 8 in Workington's favour. Dakwitoga scored his try on the 58th minute, and since then it's been one-way traffic. Dakwitoga, Stott, 2 from Carr and 1 from Garcia. Sheffield on their way to their 5th straight win. Interception there from Armstrong. There's the final siren. It's all over. And Sheffield Eagles, a match that looked like it was running away from them. Maiko has kicked well in the second half too. It looked like he was going Workington's way at half-time. I don't know what Gary Hetherington put in the coffee, but my word, it worked. Tremendous stuff from Sheffield Eagles. Dakwitoga's try sparked the revival off. And Paul Carr with 2 tries, well, he just about finished them off. Linton Stott with all the determination in the world. This typifies the Sheffield Eagles, particularly in the second half, and they've run out good winners in the end. 34 points to 8.
Seize the day.
A match that turned in Sheffield Eagles' favour in 20 minutes of the second half when they ran in 5 tries. Carr got 2, Hay, Dakwitoga, Stott and Garcia. Hay's effort coming in the first half. And Workington ahead at half-time must have thought the points were theirs. But not so. Sheffield Eagles the winners, and Paul Carr with 2 tries, talking now with Bill.
2 tries for Paul Carr, transformed in the second half.
Yeah, after Mark Aston getting injured early in the game, it was a big setback. In the second half, we turned it around.
What was said at half-time?
Pretty harsh words, just to pick up the act. It was pretty poor in the first half. We had to really improve.
Because it was hard to believe you're a side that had beaten the likes of Leeds and St Helens on that first half performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, we talked about that at half-time. All those wins are a waste of time if we didn't win tonight, and thank God we did.
2 tries for you, I think, takes you up to 8 for the season.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, that's not the important part. Winning's the important part.
Paul, thanks very much indeed.
I just want to say a cheerio to Bruce Maguire. He's going home on Tuesday. Good luck back in Australia, and from all the boys at Sheffield, thanks for all the memories, Bruce.
Thanks, Paul. Linton Stott, 4 stitches in an upper lip, but it was a painful first half all round for the Eagles, wasn't it?
Yeah, we did play to the best of our ability. We knew it was going to be tough, them coming down. They're a very hard team to beat, and, you know, we had to pull the stops, that was it.
And you certainly did in the second half, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't really think I can tell you what Gary was saying, like, but...
Go on.
Have you got a bleeper?
It was that bad, was it?
Yeah, well, we knew we had to pick it up, and at the end of the day, we did. A great team performance in the second half. The first half, we had a lot of work to do, and like I say, we did it.
1 try, but I think most people remember the way you set up that final try for Jean-Marc Garcia.
Yeah, like Paul said, we've really come together as a team, and to me, it doesn't matter who scores. Obviously, it's nice getting over, but to me, it doesn't matter who scores as long as we win. That's the main thing.
That's 4 in a row now, 5 in the league, all told. It really is a great run, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. We've, like we keep saying, we've had to book our ideas up. A lot of new players in the team. We worked hard on our defence, and it's paid off.
Linton, thanks very much indeed.
Cheers. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Happy lad. Linton Stott. Now, here are the statistics from the entire match. Tackling, they worked hard, didn't they? Scrums, 26 of them, 9 penalties. 26 handling errors, though, and it was Workington's first half and Sheffield's second. That really mirrored the way the game went. Here's the statistics on the possession. Sheffield in possession 42 times. They both held on for 18 sets of complete tackles. 50% for Workington, 43% for Sheffield, who made a lot more running metres than did their opponents. And in each set of 6, Workington made 32 and Sheffield made 36. Nothing much to choose in terms of possession then. Now then, Roland Phillips is with Bill.
Roland, do you think that reflects the performance Workington put in tonight?
Yeah, we seem to be putting performances like that in all through the season. We compete for maybe half a game. And for some reason, I can't really explain, we seem to fall off the intensity second half, and as you saw today, same thing happened again.
Is that because confidence maybe is a bit fragile after the run you've had, and when things start to go against you, then heads drop?
Yeah, it seems to be like that. You know, it's very difficult for us to feel as if we're going to have a win. You know, we approach every game wanting to win, but it's very, very hard to motivate yourselves, you know, with losing like this every week.
Maybe when Wayne Kitchen went off, Did that tilt the balance against you? Because his kicking had contributed a lot to your first half performance.
Yeah, I think with Mark Aston going off for Sheffield seemed to affect their performance. They took a while to settle down after that, and I think the same thing happened with us with Wayne Kitchen, because he was putting them back in the corners, and it seemed to make it easier for us to defend. You know, we were getting the ball into touch, and they'd have to run it out from their corners. And second half, we certainly missed him.
Roland, thanks very much indeed.
Yeah, I just had to say, Lloyd and Carris off to bed.
And you might be there to tuck him in later on. Well, what do you say to Roland Phillips and the Workington Town team? I suppose we must and we will look at the Sheffield Eagles performance in a few moments' time. But Brian Smith, if you were the coach of Workington, you would know you would have a big job on your hands, obviously. But what do you say to them? That's 10 out of 10 now, beaten.
I've been there, done that, Eddie. I've had some times like that earlier in my career, and it's very difficult, but I guess it's when you find out a lot about your character, whether you've got what it takes to come back from a really difficult situation. I think he summed it up pretty well. Tonight they did a great job, a very controlled job, for about 50 minutes. I thought maybe he shaved it off. The first 10 of the second half, they were doing pretty well, but they just couldn't keep it going. Sheffield definitely lifted, but I thought Workington, you know, that they just need to try to get next week to 60 minutes and maybe to 70.
Is
and
it
eventually
fitness? Is it fitness? Is that the simple word?
Yeah, some of it's definitely fitness, and some of it's a bit habit forming as well. That's the hard part to break. But, you know, Kurt Sorensen's got a big job to do, but he's a big fella. He's done a lot of big jobs in the past himself.
Well, that's true. I said that we would pay tribute to Sheffield Eagles. That we will do. We've talked, Steve-O, about the fact that it's a losing habit for Workington. Thankfully, for Gary Hetherington, it's developing into a winning habit.
Well, it took very late into the game before they started getting into it. They had to also rebuild their confidence. We talk about the confidence not so much on the Workington side. And right up until 10 minutes, 15 minutes into the second half, they were controlling the game. And whilst ever that was occurring, they always were in with a chance. But when Dakwatoga scored that try, I can assure you, their heads went down. And I also thought it was a turning point when they took the 2 points. It also gave them a chance to regroup. OK, the second half, Dakwatoga finished this move off, but Sheffield Eagles started to get the ball out wide, and I'm sure that Hetherington would have told them at half-time, let's run these guys around. We have got superior fitness, and if we can do that, then we will win the game. And it showed. They showed some very, very good skills. None better than this. Look how Hay just went in and out there. Brings in the centre, force it. And what a great game Linton Stott had. Not only scoring this try, but setting up that wonderful try for the Frenchman, Marc Garcia. But I was extremely impressed in the second half by the way that the hooker, I thought Lawless and Dean Lawford, they really did come of age. They took the task on. They took the responsibilities. They'd lost their captain, Mark Aston. The leader, Mark Aston. He's the man that set them on the way. And they took their responsibility. They did it very, very well in the second half.
They did indeed. I just wonder, Brian, remember in the commentary we mentioned the fact that all of a sudden when Phil McKenzie let that ball go through his legs, and if he'd have turned and placed it in the arms of the supporting acts, they would have been over for another try, Workington. Was that the turning point?
Well, it seemed to be. I thought, you know, that was obviously a chance for them to get themselves in a winning position. Who knows what a try under the post may have done then. But I thought there were two things that Sheffield did really well, and one of them was, as Steve-O just suggested, they ran so well from acting half in the second half. Lawless in particular got them going forward. But the other one, and I give you some credit here, Eddie, I heard in the commentary you kept saying about Mick Cook. Now, Mick Cook's he's a veteran, and he didn't sort of do anything particularly startling running over top of everyone, but didn't he play well on last play when the ball, reaction plays, and he distributed the ball, it got out wide, and they scored some great tries.
They did score some great tries. We've had a great match, and we will have another great match for you on Sunday at the Valley Charlton. The game kicks off at 3. London Broncos against Brian Smith's Bradford Bulls, exclusively here on Sky Sports, Sunday at 7. Boots and all next Tuesday. Note the slightly later time, 10:45. 10:45, because there's a fairly important soccer match on that night. And Warrington against Castleford next Friday at 7 o'clock. We'll be wrapping up the wire against the Tigers of Castleford this time next week. And the new rules will be in place by then. Don't forget Boxing Day. You can see Wigan against the Saints. Boxing Day at 5. Wigan Saints. And I wonder whether this Christmas period will see Wigan crowned as centenary champions. If they are, we will be with them. We're live and exclusive at Wilderspool on New Year's Day at 11:30 in the morning. Early start on New Year's Day. No nights out, Steve-O. New Year's Eve.
Why?
Brian Smith, great to see you. See you on Sunday at Charlton. See you on Sunday as well, Steve-O, of course. And I trust we will see you on Sunday for London Broncos against Bradford Bulls. But now it's good night from Sheffield, and well done, the Eagles. Great display.